All right, now that we have our meat all seared here in the pan, I'm gonna go ahead and transfer this from the pan over to your pot. Honestly, the order doesn't matter how you put it in. If you want to put the ribs in closer to the middle, go for it. If you want them on the outside, that's fine too. The important key part that's going to happen here is that all that meat is going to separate the moment it comes out of there. And I'm telling you, it's going to be mind-blowing. If you already know the crock or the Instant Pot, then you already know what I'm talking about. Those of us who don't really rely on this kind of technology, so to speak, we don't. And so it took me a long time. I was a skeptic of the air fryer, let me tell you that. My oldest son used it to make his chicken wings one time. I think it was actually orange chicken. And again, one of those mind-blowing events where someone who hasn't owned a microwave in almost 15 years, you know, likes the fire. So I don't like electric stoves too much. So this was a game changer for me. I hope it is for you too. If you guys have one and you know it's been in your pantry as long as mine has before I used it, which is about almost 2 years or so, because the first thing I wanted to make in this was pho. I was waiting to do that, but I did chili instead for my old place of work, and the way that chili came out, once again, I was blown away. I used a brisket, and I made brisket chili, and I got first place for that one. Anyhow, back to this. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that in there, and then once our stuff is ready for our blender, we're gonna go ahead and blend that up, and then we're gonna dump our sauce right into here. We're gonna seal it up, and then it should be ready within like 40-45 minutes. All right, rock on. All right, guys. So we have now the chili peppers, the tomato, the onion. All of that has been cooked down. Now remember that you do have bay leaves in here. Try to fish them out if you can. You don't want to blend those up with what you got. It doesn't come out too well. So let me put those. So just remember, if you have bay leaves in here, the two that we added, we just want to take those and fish those out before we add anything to our blender. Okay, so I do have one more in here somewhere. I'm sure it'll pop up eventually. Okay, meanwhile, go ahead and put those things into the blender. Get them going here. All right, watch for that bay leaf. See, everything is nice and cooked down. Our water is also a nice red color there. We're going to use that stock. Alright, tomatoes, peppers, got my jalapeno in there. I might have gotten them out already. Okay. Well, I didn't see the other one. Ah, there you are. Found you. He's in there. He's hiding. See him? All right. I'll get you, my precious. My precious. I have almost missed one. Okay. Bye-bye, bay leaf. You go away. All right, now that we have everything separated there, and our bay leaves are clear of any contamination, we're going to go ahead and ladle that broth in here with this mix. Now, keep in mind, this broth is hot. Typically, you know, you're taking it off of there. So it just got done simmering. Now you know what happens when you close off steamy things, right? They become pretty much like a bomb. So be sure to air out everything, such as steam, before starting your blend. Now that's about where I'm gonna set that there with juice versus items in there. Unfortunately, I don't have a Ninja. My Oster can only handle so much. I think one more scoop to kind of top it there, that'll be good. All right, now I still have enough space at the top there. That way things can move around. It's not too full. All right, so once again, these things are here for a reason. This part right here, we'll go over that in just a second. All right, so as I was saying, we want to make sure that we don't close anything off when we have things with steam. If there's something hot and we're putting it in that blender, closing everything off is going to make this sucker go everywhere. All right, so the first thing we need to do here is make sure the lid is off, like loose, excuse me, not off, but loose. Okay, so don't airtight it. Okay, leave it loose on there. You want to start your blender on the lowest setting possible first. So we're going to give it a stir first. All right, that way it's gradually going. Okay, now put that sucker on high. Now you're ready to go. Once it starts moving and then that steam starts rolling, it'll start coming out, and it'll be a lot easier to handle. All right, now we want to liquefy. Presto. Nothing came out. Doing fine. It may have a little leak in the back though. All right, we're going to go ahead and let that liquefy, and then we'll be right back. And this is why we keep that uncovered on the top. Because we don't want that top popping off like a little rocket. See all that steam? That's what we want to not have used against us. All right, now it's time to add our sauce, blended sauce here to our. All right, now it's time to add our blended sauce here to our chuck roast and those short ribs that are here in the Instapot. Now, when setting the Instapot too, see if you can see that here. We want to put it on the meat stew. So meat stew setting, okay, that sets it for about 35 minutes in the crock pot world, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and add my sauce. You hear the crock pot already coming on there. I mean, excuse me, the Instapot. You hear the Instapot there coming on. Alright. Alright, now we just want to make sure all that sauce gets in between that meat there. You can see the sauce is still hot. And that is okay. Just again, remember, don't put that top on your blender. I had a really good friend of mine try that, and she didn't do so well. Unless you want new ceiling paint. All right, now that that's all mixed up in there, all done. That's there. That's sitting in there. Now keep in mind that your sauce is going to be a bit bland because we didn't really season the sauce too much there when it was simmering with all the peppers. The seasoning is going to come from that meat, the release of the fatty juices and everything come from the meat after we've just seasoned it with the salt, pepper, and that garlic powder. That's all going to come out here into the sauce as well. I do recommend adding another, probably about a half teaspoon of salt to this, just to, kind of keep it salted up. So that is perfectly okay. All right, so before we seal this up, I'm going to go ahead and add my salt. And again, that is a half a teaspoon of my Scully salts. In these spoons, I love these spoons. I got to thank my friend Angela for these spoons that she had gotten me a while back. So thank you again. These are coming in handy. I love them. They're fun to use. All right, so there it is. The Instant Pot is on. Again, it is on stew, the meat stew. Okay, it's on normal there in the middle. So it's getting heated up right now. Just want to make sure our steam is closed, not on. Good, good, good. All right, that is done back there. Cool. All right, Darth, we'll see you here in about 45 minutes. Stay tuned.